Welcome back, America. We have a man who I call America's wise man. Why? Because he is America's wise man. That's why. Victor Davis Hanson, my dear friend, Hoover Institution senior fellow. It's always good to see you and have you here. Victor, boy, I think we sure have the upper hand with Iran here. I think the president has played this and done brilliant things that nobody else would do or could do. Militarily, economically, geopolitically, we're really have the upper hand. And with respect to Lebanon, there's been talk about a peace deal between the government of Lebanon and Israel. A couple of points I want to raise with you. Number one, what about Hezbollah? The problem is not really the government of Lebanon, because the government of Lebanon is quite weak and it doesn't seem to be able to or willing to rein in Hezbollah. So what about that? And number two, in terms of the Straits, I think so many people are impatient. Certainly Democrats are trying to sabotage this whole thing. The media are trying to sabotage this whole thing. But I even think some Republicans and others are impatient. This hasn't gone on this long, and we have the ability to really not just defeat the Iranian regime, but I think collapse it so the people are liberated. So I'm throwing a lot at you. What do you think?
Well, I think that we've inflicted such a great deal of damage, and I think some of the estimates on the higher end are accurate, of $500 billion, that we're at a crossroads. If we were to negotiate an end, they would be pretty inert for 10 years, but not after that. There would be no guarantee. We should assume they're going to cheat, but they wouldn't have the ability to reify that cheating for a long time. But it wouldn't solve the existential problem, which is the regime. And we were right at the cusp of either weakening it so much that they have internal discord, so the Revolutionary Guard fights with the army, fights with the theocracy, and they each don't trust each other for being too soft, and then they're worried they're going to be, if there's a revolution, they're going to be tried like a Nuremberg. So they're in disarray, and with a little bit more time, I think they could be permanently weakened. But what we're seeing real quickly, Mark, is after we did all the heavy lifting with the Israelis, there's all these parties that are coming in and saying, now that you've taken the heat from us and we criticize you, and I'm talking specifically about the NATO countries that now want to come in and appropriate the Strait and say that they're going to patrol it, which is okay, but they wouldn't do it until we did it and made that possible because they're so weak. And then we have the Gulf states that are pretty good, but they have 600 fighters and they didn't deploy one of them. And so then we have the Hezbollah Lebanon, and the only reason they're talking is because the Israelis took a great risk and attrited their leadership over the last year and weakened them. So we've got to be very careful that our agenda is not identical to the NATO one. It's not identical necessarily to the Lebanese government. It's not identical to the Gulf states. And all of these parties want to get in now that we've really, broken the back of the Iranian regime. And it has no more reputation for being fearful, terrible. The master of the Middle East, we destroyed that entire image with help from Israel. And now they want to be opportunistic and either take credit for it or manipulate it in ways that might not be conducive to our own agendas.
Wow, those are great points. And my concern is this, not with the president, but with others who are out there as well. You can have a peace deal, you can have a cessation of hostilities, and you could lose this whole thing. We're on the precipice of changing, because of Donald Trump, the entire Middle East, which also will have an effect on communist China, on Russia, on all those other actors and so forth and so on, which will have a change, I think, in the economic dynamic for the entire world with respect to oil. And we just need to, in my view, a little more patience. I mean, this thing's going on, what, 6, 7 weeks? 3, 4, 5 more weeks. Yeah. And what may occur here is something that is just astoundingly incredible, as well as the liberation of the Iranian people, which I think is something we need to keep in mind.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.